Hi, I'm David Spencer and welcome back to Gardening with Bugs. So this is our first video on this new property other than a little introductory one. I really want to focus today on what I've established so far and what my plan is only. So we'll get into some specifics as we go. So right here we're looking at about a third of an acre on this 11-acre property. That's where we've kind of decided this is going to be. One of the reasons is we've got sheep pasture on and paddocks on different sides here. So this is one area that we can section it off. It's not the best soil. This was actually tree covered more recently than some of the other land, but it also has been pastured long enough where there's a fair amount of decent topsoil. In fact, one of the reasons I put off making this video until today, besides the fact that we've had horrendous weather, like it's mid-March right now, this is the first kind of sunny day where I've had a t-shirt on anyways, because we've just had this like convection of like hail and even snowfall. We'd still melt during the day, but it's just been absolutely terrible, and the water table's up extremely high, which I'll show you. But the other reason is finally my soil results came in. So what I did was I took some samples as soon as we acquired the property, sent it off. It took almost a month to get it back. But that was really essential, and I encourage everyone to do that because it gives you an idea of, first of all, what you don't have to do, which is great, but also if there is any considerations, like for example, you can see here that we are short on phosphorus. It's kind of a difficult one to add, not like nitrogen, there's tons of sources of that, but without phosphorus, I need to consider what plants, first of all, will maybe thrive in that condition, which ones will suffer, and how they'll suffer, or what will be developed in case, like sometimes you'll have different growth patterns based on what's there. You'll also see that we're high in saline, so salts, which tend to be because of manure. That's typically the reason why, unless you're very coastal. I mean, we're on Vancouver Island, but I'm not that close to the coast where the wind is depositing salt here. So really that's from the manure, which unfortunately is also a source of the phosphorus. But if I was to add manure as the phosphorus source, then I'm further contributing to the salinity here, which I don't necessarily want. So I'm not going to talk about the amendments too much here, because first of all, I haven't exactly figured out particularly what I'm going to do, but obviously you can see from the chart here that I'll need to provide some iron, I'll need to provide phosphorus, at least those two for sure, in order to get a couple of the crops that I'm considering to be optimum. So here we are. This is, you can see behind, I've established some crosses. The neighbors think I'm about to crucify people, but I think once I'm done and the wires have gone up, then it'll be way more obvious that I'm actually growing hops here. So hops are important on the West Coast. Actually, this is traditionally one of the most important hop growing regions of the English Empire for a long period of time. So I know they grow well here. The original documents talk about the nutrition, the clay, the suitable environment. So it's actually a great crop for us, and it's a great crop for me from a work perspective, because we do biological control in hops very successfully, but still a lot of the commercial hops are not done without chemical interventions, and I know they can be done without chemical interventions because we do that with commercial hop growers. So here we're going to showcase it kind of further. Plus I brew beer and I love the hops. They're a beautiful plant. We're also going to be growing some strawberries, so I haven't decided yet if that's going to be kind of the garden to the left of what you're looking at, or right here kind of quite close to me, do a separate garden of kind of raised beds of strawberries. But we are going to do blueberries, cut flowers, and a bunch of other kind of perennials like asparagus and rhubarb is already in. So that's the plan right here. I'll show you right now some of the difficulties that we're dealing with. So right off the bat, you'll see that some of the areas very inconsistent. There's deep soil in some spots, and in others it's raised because had been tree roots here. They've never really been taken care of. That's one of the problems. Then of course, right off the bat here, I'm dealing with this crazy water table. So today, after filming this, I'm going to put up the rest of the hop poles, but you can see they filled with water so much that really, like in the next couple days, I'm hoping that water level will drop considerably. But this ground has been almost unworkable most of the times I've come to check on it. You can also see here that I've got, you won't be able to see the asparagus, but the asparagus is in here. You can start to see the rhubarb, and you can see that's really struggling, and that's because I had no choice but to move it from my garden at home and bring it here during this really poor weather. So when I was digging and putting the rhubarb in, I was basically planting them in water, like an aquatic plant. so I don't have high hopes for it. I know rhubarb's pretty tough. That root, there's a ton of energy in those roots, so I'm hoping that as the water table drops, it'll be revived a bit. It'll at least send up shoots enough to survive this year. So we do plan on putting up some sort of hedges and privacy. However, it's going to be multi-purpose because we're also going to be planting for ecological reasons. So that is habitat for beneficial insects and birds and all that sort of stuff, but also how that's going to help my garden by making sure that I have some sort of perennials that are flowering at different times of the year means I will have greater biodiversity, which tends to mean greater reduction on big swings of pest pressure, right? So I'm not decreasing necessarily the number of, say, aphids. The aphids still might be abundant, but as their population grows, they'll more quickly be dropped down by native predators, and so basically that sine wave of pest population, the data shows, will be kind of leveled off the more and the closer really rich habitat is for a lot of the predators of these pests. You can't go wrong with too much habitat. That's just super simple. You can't go wrong with too many flowers because those tend to promote things that feed on pollen and nectar, and things that can feed on pollen and nectar and are also predatory as well. Unlike leafy greens, which tend to promote things that eat leafy greens, which tend to be our pests. So it's kind of a rule of thumb, but disproportionately flowers and the proximity of flowers is going to help your biocontrol. So we will be establishing some of that here on this property. So that's it for me for today. This is just kind of a preliminary one, just setting the stage. Obviously I've got a lot of work to do. Like I said, this weekend, it's Thursday right now. It's supposed to warm up even more than it is right now. I'm hoping to get a whole bunch of plants in the ground, or at least some soil turned and some beds prepared, and we'll be off to the races then. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, because again, that was really encouraging to see how many people were interested in this sort of content. So share it with others, and hit like, or just drop me a comment or something like that, because it really is encouraging, and I feel like I can pump out more videos the more interest there is. So please tune into the next one, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.